All right, guys, we're going to get started in just a minute. I apologize. I almost called the cops once again. This literally happens every freaking time. But I'm trying to set this up on my stand, and then we'll get rolling. Let's see. There we go. That looks pretty good. All right, everybody can see that. Yeah, guys, feel free to ask questions below as well. I'm going to present a little bit on this stuff, and then I'm going to get my chair, sit down, and answer any questions. All right, guys, so tonight we're going to talk about, you guys probably heard, a lot of you guys are here, obviously, because last week we became officially millionaires. So pretty cool feat, especially by 30 years old. And I'm going to show you exactly what we did. I'm going to provide you with the exact resources and tools that we used to get here. And everybody in this call can become a millionaire and beyond, well beyond that, trust me, multi-millionaires and maybe even decamillionaires eventually. And it's really not that hard of a process. So it didn't feel like that at first when we were 23. So I'm going to walk you guys through kind of our timeline of where we started and then also where we're at right now. So a lot of you guys have been following me for 3+ years, and we'll talk about even the timeline of when Budget Dog began. But most people that aren't close or haven't followed me for quite some time, haven't been on my webinars, don't really know my backstory behind Budget Dog. So I'm going to walk you guys through that to begin with, okay? So let's just start 2015. So December 31st, 2014, I graduated from the University of Louisville. I was a finance and accounting degree, and I was pursuing my CPA. I had a job lined up at Deloitte, a Big Four firm, and so I had to study for my CPA. For the first 8 months of 2015, I did not have a job. I was broke, I made $0, and I stayed at home, but I knew I had a job lined up, and my main focus was to get my CPA at that point in time. So I started Deloitte right here. It was about September, I think it was Labor Day weekend of 2015. So I started making income right there. We got engaged before this, so my wife and I, prior to that, we were dating a long time, and then I proposed in about March time of 2015. That was when things started getting serious, right? I had some college debt, I had ring debt that I've talked about a lot in my webinars about. The funny story that you guys have attended my webinars have seen and heard. We had not bed debt at this point, but car debt as well as student loans. We didn't quite have the house. We didn't quite have the bed debt also on top of that, but we were engaging in the process of taking on as much debt as possible at that point in time. Speed up to about June of 2016, and we took on our whole mortgage. We put 3.5% down on the $228,000 mortgage in total. At that point in time, we incurred $304,000 of total debt. So we got really serious. We got married, we were in a house, we were starting our full-time jobs, and I was like, we gotta get after this. But before this moment, we didn't really take finances that serious. We were just kind of floating through life. There was no real goals, there were no real achievements that we were trying to hit. We were just kind of walking through life like anybody else, right? Get the car, graduate, get the new house, boom, I've done it, I got a great job. We're doing, from American standards, pretty well. But I'm a CPA, and when I look at balance sheets at my companies, I assess their debt. And so I did so for myself, and I about freaked out. So when I actually saw our debt, and I actually saw our net worth on our balance sheet, it was like negative $7,000, I believe, roughly, around that number. This was like 2016-ish time, right? June of 2016. I literally remember specifically what we were doing that day. So I was outside, we were doing a renovation on our back house that was paid for in cash, luckily, and it was also it's an entire porch, but my father-in-law does it. So we were doing, the actual manual labor to that. We were talking about debt out there, and I realized, I was like, you know what, we were talking about all the details, and I was like, I can't believe we have a bed loan. We literally had a bed loan at that point in time. It was so embarrassing to me when we were talking about it out loud, and I actually had to say it out loud versus just thinking about it in my head or talking to Aaron about it. And so I told the guys, I was like, yeah, we have a bed loan. We pay $75 a month for it. The bed that we sleep in. And that moment was the official moment that I took off. My wife and I officially took off at that moment. I walked in that night. I paid off the bed loan. I want to say it was roughly $2,500 to $3,000 in total remaining. And I told my wife, I was walking and pacing around the room, and I was like, we have to get rid of this debt. Like, this is ridiculous what we've taken on. So we did. And I became basically the nerd in the spreadsheets, and my wife became the teammate that knew what we were doing, but stayed out of the spreadsheets as much as she could. And so that was the moment we paid off $76,000 of debt. So over this next year, we paid off $76,000 of non-mortgage debt, basically accumulating right here. I had it broken out: non-mortgage and $76,000, and then mortgage. The house was $228. And we were sick of it. So we paid off student loans of $40,000. We paid off like a bed, a ring, a car, or 2 cars, accumulating a total of $76,000. The process in which that we went from here to here was monumental to the success that we've now achieved at 30 years old. But it all started right here. It was the day I talked about when I came in, the mindset shift behind what the hell are we doing? There was a wake-up period of like, we've been doing this like so-so, like, oh, I'm doing better than most. That is an awful metric to measure yourself by. I'm doing better than most. That's a horrible standard. That standard should be, what is good to me and how do I live up to that standard? That's this mindset shift we had at this point. I didn't care what my family did. I don't care what my colleagues did or my friends did. I was concerned about our picture, and the standard that we set was not good enough. And so we paid off $76,000 of debt in one freaking year. We were on fire. We actually paused our investing because we had a little bit of investments up to here. We were young professionals. I started to outline our financial plan. I had a really, really good idea of like the timeline in which we were going to pay it off, about 1.5 years at that point in time. And I realized, with young professionals making a lot of money in the future, as a CPA and my wife's got a great job as well in the housing and building industry, we felt really confident about where our income began, and we knew it was going to take off eventually. And we were like 1 or 2 years into our career. So we sacrificed. We paused vacations, we paused investments, we paused going out on the weekends, we paused everything. I was still studying for my CPA because Mr. CPA took a long period of time to actually pass. I actually ended up passing about at the same time, 2017, right before that. So that was like a 2-year and 3-month period for my CPA. And so we paid off all the $76,000 of debt in one freaking year. But how did we do it, right? It wasn't just like it just magically happened. We had budgets, we had balance sheets, we had amortization schedules, we had a good cohesive plan that worked together that told us exactly when we were going to pay it off, which was 1.5 years initially. But because we mapped that out and we saw the end goal, we saw the finish line, what we did, we got excited. We were exuberant about the opportunity in front of us, and so we went to work. We went to work on the side hustles. We thought of our incomes were pretty solid at the time. They were fresh out of college salaries, but they were good. They were solid professional jobs. But on the weekends, I was working side hustles with my father-in-law as a mason, being a laborer. I was doing things on, what else did we do? Worked at a church with a construction hat on, like literally demoing a church. We sold a bunch of stuff in our house. We sold stuff. My wife was doing 20/20 drawings, making like $50 an hour as a side hustle, bringing in multiple hundreds of dollars in a given project. Five times, let's just say 6 hours, right, at $50 was like $300 savings or earnings, and we would throw that directly to debt. We got intentional as hell, and because we did, not only was the mindset shift, but we had a plan in front of us. And when you have a plan in front of you, you're gonna move so much faster than the person that's emotionally thinking through this kind of stuff. And so once we got through that, we attacked. We shaved off 6 extra months of that initial 1.5 year payoff plan of the $76,000 because we got intentional and because we said enough's enough and we paid it off. That was the start of what is now at 30 years old. So this is way back in late 2017, right before 2018. And we were really intentional it didn't stop right then. We got straight to the emergency fund. We saved an additional $40,000 in our emergency fund, which is well over what we have now in there, obviously. And I talk about that a lot, but we got really safe. We came from a place of a lot of debt, $76,000 right out of school, plus $228 on the house. And we had no emergency fund, none of that kind of stuff. So I was like, we're going to go ultra safe, feel extra confident. And that was the initial part. So from a psychological perspective, it made sense at that point in time. As we've gotten closer to the mortgage payoff that I'm going to talk about in a second, that emergency funds obviously dwindled quite a bit to where now I invest 100%. But we really initially got to an emergency fund, then we started our automatic investments, and we started investing a ton of money. We did about 15% of gross income initially, and then we upped it to 20%. And then we got real serious. So we started getting a few increases in our income, and we looked at the mortgage. And my wife kept saying, like, we need to pay this mortgage off. And I wasn't against it, but I wasn't as bullish as she was at first. And she kept saying in her head into me as well. And eventually I was like, that sounds like a really good idea. Why not throw an extra, I think we started with like an extra $100 a month to the mortgage. Like that's all we threw. But that $100 turned into $250 and so on and so forth. But along the way, a lot of things changed, right? First off, Budget Dog was born in June of 2019. I was literally on the church steps I was referring to earlier, and I was working at the church at my side hustle when I started Budget Dog. And I honestly just thought it was a fun thing to do. I was like, I'm just going to talk about my journey and explain what we did. It sounds like a great idea. I knew zero about social media. I didn't know people even did this. Like I didn't know this was like a thing. Like people shared like financial tips online. Like I didn't even know that was a thing. I just built it just to have fun, literally, to explain our story, to show everything. My dog was literally the face. If you guys have been following me since the beginning, my dog was literally, that's where the name came from. My dog was the logo behind the brand. And obviously it's evolved a little bit since then, but that's where the name came from. And so we were paying off this mortgage. We were getting really aggressive. And we were finally making more money. And then all of a sudden, 16 months into Budget Dog beginning, I made $0. Guys, I made $0 on Budget Dog. It wasn't even, like I said, it was just a hobby. It was just having a fun time. 16 months into it, I made my first dollar online. And I was like, wow, this is like a thing. I can't believe it. It was my book, my Investing 101 book. So I released my Investing 101 book, and I think I made like $4,000 to $5,000 that month. And I was like, what the heck just happened? Like, this is a thing online, and people are actually wanting this stuff, and people need this help, and all these things started, going through my mind of like opportunities. Well, 12 months later, from that initial starting point, I quit my 9-to-5 job, which I didn't put up here. So in when was that? August of 2021. So let's just say right here, I quit job. So left W-2. So my wife and I both worked at W-2, and I was like, you know what, enough's enough. I'm turning this into a business. I did 12 months of extended revenues that were consistent. I felt comfortable. I was building a business. It was not just an online, I post a few things on social media. I was presenting at companies. I was working with individuals one-on-one. I obviously did my first book. There was a lot of different things, different revenue streams. I started working with Wealth Squad. There was a ton of things that were bringing revenue, and it was consistent, which was one of my biggest fears in the beginning. Was like, can this really be consistent? Is this really a thing? And I was dead wrong. It was the best decision I've ever done. But along this journey, when I started making some income with Budget Dog, and I had a W-2 at Deloitte, I was at Deloitte, my wife was still at her W-2, I looked at it as like, wow, we have a really good opportunity in front of us, and if I really think about quitting my 9-to-5, why don't I just pay off the house? We have 3 incomes for a short amount of time before I quit my 9-to-5. This would provide excellent opportunity for me to stay home with Logan full-time as a stay-at-home dad and not give her to daycare, which turned out to be the best decision ever because of her Dravet syndrome. And I can't stress enough how fortunate we were to be put in that position to even have this opportunity. Because initially I was just like, yeah, we'll stay in daycare. Cool, and I'll be able to stay home with my daughter. And that would be a really cool experience. Well, little do we know, we were blown away by obviously the diagnosis and put into a position that's extremely scary for the average, everyday person. Like a 1 in 16,000 chance of what she has is Dravet syndrome. So she can't go to daycare. There's not even an option. So if I were to reverse and never start Budget Dog and this never become a business, my wife would have had to quit her job. We would have had Budget Dog income. That wouldn't have been a thing. And my Deloitte job would have been a thing, which I hated. I absolutely hated Deloitte. With all due respect, Deloitte was a great place. I didn't hate it like that. But I just didn't like what I did. I didn't really enjoy it. Learned a lot of cool people, but it just wasn't what I wanted to do. And so I was looking into the personal finance space, and in fact, an advisor role at Morgan Stanley and things like that. But it never went that far. So we were blessed in the fact that not only was I able to quit my job, but my wife was able to continue doing what she does with a lot of flexibility, and we were able to take care of Logan, who obviously we've been in the hospital quite a bit this year. So for the flexibility and the income to be there led us to our mortgage payoff, and we paid off our mortgage right before Logan came, about 3 weeks before. So if you guys were following me last year this time, we paid it August 8th, I believe, of 2021. I quit my job the same freaking week. It was the coolest feeling in the world. I wrote a check at the bank, and I sent an email at the same freaking time to my boss. I'm done. Literally quit. That process was just that was like the coolest week of my life. I went out to California that week as well and celebrated Chris Johnson's, shout out to Ball Squad, his 30th birthday on a yacht. It was the coolest experience ever. But it was literally all of this time that nobody saw, all this stuff, boom, right here on 1 week, all of that stuff all of a sudden happened, and people were like, what the heck? I can't believe you're doing that, all these crazy things. I'm like, guys, but look at all this stuff before that nobody saw. This is the under the iceberg stuff right here. And this was the iceberg that everyone saw. And everyone's like, oh, that's so easy. That's so fun, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot that goes into that, guys. There's so much work that went into that, and so much stress, and so many years of literally 2015 we're talking. We're not talking, 2019 to 2020. This is 2015 we began this process. And in 2021, 6.5 years later, over 6.5 years later, almost 7 years, was when all this stuff finally happened and came to fruition. So I'm going to talk about, that's kind of the story, guys, of how we got there, right? Now, along the way, there was a lot of things we did, and a lot of things you guys can do very easily to make this happen. And we're going to do some examples as well. So first things first was, the biggest piece of this, guys, was a budget, and not only a budget, but it was a financial plan. So having a fully, documented financial plan, that includes a long laundry list of things that we talk about in Budget Dog Academy, is the exact concrete data on paper, not emotional, and I knew everything that was going to happen. I just knew time was going to be the only thing in my way, just time. I knew exactly, step by step, everything that was going to happen. There was no guessing. The only thing I knew is if I increased my income, I would speed and condense that time. And so initially, this 2015 or 2016, when we set out to pay off the house and everything, it was like a 15-year goal. I'm not even kidding. And it turned into a major condensed time frame because all the extra income that we brought in on the side. But it wasn't just our W-2 jobs at that point. So budgeting is, guys, the number one key piece of this. A budget is not on your in your head. It's not just checking a Mint app and just kind of seeing the actuals happen. It's not writing out fixed expenses on a piece of paper and referring it to it once in a while. It is a fully fledged detailed Excel sheet that you know everything, where everything's going on. It is detailed, but it's simple at the same time. My students spend no more than 30 minutes per month doing this exact entire process that I mapped out. Number 2, we paid off debt. By paying off the debt, guys, we lowered our expenses with the mortgage specifically by 40%. So our expenses went way down. It took a lot of stress off me, especially quitting my 9 to 5 and starting Budget Dog, to really dive into Budget Dog and not worry about those, all the expenses that my mortgage would cause and all these other debt payments would cause. I couldn't mentally be there to take Budget Dog to a new level, which is what I did because I had so much confidence. If I literally failed, my wife's W-2 income would have taken care of us. So we put ourselves in a position that the worst of the worst underneath us wasn't that bad. But that was because we paid off all this debt before that time. And that was a really, really, I can't stress, that was the biggest non-monetary piece of this entire equation, is for me to feel fully confident, build a business, and really dive in, I needed my expenses low. That's different for everybody. I knew myself more than anybody, and that's what I did. So that was a huge reason we paid off the house as well, because we saw that process coming. We were looking at what was going to happen. Number 3, increasing our income, taking calculated risk. I would say quitting your 9 to 5 at the age of 29 with a baby on the way is a really, really calculated risk. And so also increasing the income was a massive piece of this entire equation, guys. We literally were working so many dang side hustles. We would bring in an extra couple thousand a month because we were like doing everything under the sun to make an extra side hustle. So from zero to about $800,000 in net worth, we went from 2 W-2 jobs in just the side hustles, a bunch of side hustles, like tons of different things, right? And we went from, that process was about 2021, I believe, was when we hit like 800,000 in net worth. Since that time, 800,000 to $1 million has been collectively my wife's W-2 job that's continued to have, and then also my business that has done very, very well over the last couple of years. So that was 800 to $1 million, and then obviously 0 to 800. So about 20% was from Budget Dog or a piece of Budget Dog. But 0 to 800 was W-2 jobs and everything I'm talking about tonight. And that's why we would have continued that pace and hit $1 million regardless of if Budget Dog was here or we were in W-2. Number 4 is no FOMO investing. There was no Dogecoin investments. There were no lottery ticket wins. There was no inheritance. There was no crazy stuff happening. This was just detailed, calculated financial planning 101 that works with time. That's all. There's nothing crazy, guys, about what we did. We didn't day trade our way here. We didn't swing trade as Monk Investor would typically tell me to do. We wouldn't do all those things. We just did like fundamental financial planning stuff. Number 5, we saved at least 20% of our income. We saw the big picture. We didn't sacrifice our entire life. In fact, when we were in the mortgage payoff phase, we went to Curacao, Hawaii, Punta Cana, where else did we go? Curacao. We went to multiple, where else? Hawaii. I said Hawaii for a second. We went to a lot of different cool tropical vacations on like all-inclusive resorts. Like we were not just like skating by to pay off this mortgage. We were having a good time, and we let up on the gas and intentionally. And we said, you know what? If we're going to pay off a mortgage, we need to enjoy our lives. We don't want to just sit here and be slaves to our money and slaves to our debt. We need to take a step back and see like, hey guys, this is actually a pretty cool like opportunity. We're paying off our mortgage, but at the same time, sure, could we have condensed it 4 more months less? Yeah. But do we want to enjoy our process and enjoy the journey? Yes. So we saw the big picture. We saw, above and beyond just the right here and right now. We saw, decades in advance. So saving greater than 20%, that 20% has gone all the way up to 80% at different times. So 20 to 80%, but at least always 20% along this entire process. Save 20 cents on every dollar you earn, and you'll do really, really, really well long term. Number 6, automate bills and investments. This is the most underrated hack that you will do along the way. Time, you get time back. You don't have to worry about that. Your decision fatigue goes down, and your emotions go down as well. This is the best thing ever. This will speed your journey up way quicker than a lot of things that you would expect would, because you're not making that decision. Today, I think I invested in our taxable brokerage and an IRA and stuff like that. I don't even pay attention because I have it all automated and set up. Like I don't even literally check my investments. It's just always coming out every single week, automated, and it doesn't matter where the market's at. I'm going to continue to automate and funnel this money in. Not falling victim to lifestyle creep. Boom. Guys, I'm going to start this one. This one's significant to our wealth building. And anybody out there knows in any area with anybody or group of people, there's competition all over the place. I don't even see it, to be honest. Like I don't even pay attention. And I think that's why I'm so good at not falling victim to lifestyle creep. But part of that's just having confidence in yourself and realizing like, hey, stuff isn't that important. And if your neighbor has a BMW and you have a Toyota, that doesn't necessarily mean the value of you guys as an individual or person is any different. But people compete like all the time with this. I don't know what it is. I don't understand it. But we kept our expenses flat from 2015 to about today. There was a little bit of increase, like a little bit. Obviously, Logan came in the picture and stuff like that. But I would say, like in general, 2015 to today, literally, like we haven't really changed our expenses. Like they're about the same, but our income has gone way up. So our expenses are staying flat like that, but our income goes way up. Most people operate like this. And they just had no separation in between here. We had all of this separation, right? And it grew with time the more income we made. So we just continue to increase our goals, our debt payoff, our investments, millionaire status, whatever those were, and we just kept working towards that. Number 8, we invested into low-cost index funds. We just bought and hold. sleeping, I said Z. Nothing crazy. Like I said, we didn't invest into Dogecoin. We didn't invest into crazy investments. We literally put in automated investments and we put it into our same investments I talk all the time about, low cost index funds and ETFs, and it was just a recurring cycle for literally for like forever, right? Starting right here about early or late 2017. And then so the biggest and why I put this in red, guys, is we were consistent with all of these things I list out for 7 years. So people are going to ask me, and I'll go through an example in a second, can I do this in 7 years? It depends. I'm not going to just sell some pipe dream that everyone's going to become a millionaire in 7 years if you do this. This component right here is going to be a big component of how fast you condense this time frame. However, I will show you a legitimate example where this stuff isn't that hard. This will get you there 100%. Your time frame is going to vary. It just depends. Everyone's situation is different. But let's go up here to this example. So if you make $70,000 from a gross income perspective and you just invest 15%, that is going to get you to a millionaire status in 24 years. That's just at 15%. So obviously income is going to vary. Everyone on this call is probably thinking, well, I'm at 95, I'm at 60, I'm at 45, I'm at 120. So I don't know what your income is going to be or what the percentage you're going to invest. This is pretty controllable, 15%. It's somewhat controllable, but like people are in different industries and different expertise, and that's going to vary obviously. But let's just say an average income of $70,000 times at 15%. This is household, remember. This is not just one individual. That's a 24-year period. If you were 25 years old, you will become a millionaire at 49. But even better is actually probably before that, because millionaire status, that's not including any other asset. That's including just investments solely. So part of our millionaire status, I broke it down on my video the other day, like the actual breakdown of how we got here, was a piece of the home was piece of that, right? Assets minus liabilities equals net worth, which is $1 million plus or whatever. So this, realistically, this 24 probably turns into like, I mean, it could be way earlier than that. It could probably be like, everyone's numbers are going to be different, obviously, but maybe 15 years, realistically. And so if you start this process at 25, by 40 years old, you can be a millionaire, pretty simply, but just by walking through this whole thing. Some people are like, 15 years is way too long. We'll make more money. That's the only way you can get there. It's a math equation. There's no other thing to it. So it's either make more money, decrease expenses, but it's also putting this stuff into practice and making it happen for 7 years consistently, or 15 years, double that, whatever that time frame may be. And so this is a really practical example for a lot of people out there not believing they can become millionaires. That's a flat out lie you're telling yourself, and that's a self-limiting belief. Everyone on this call can be a millionaire, and honestly, millionaire, guys, is not the end goal, and it should not be. Being a millionaire is not the end goal. You need to be well above that to be able to retire, to do all these things, and everybody on this call that's learning can do that for sure. This is just the component of our makeup of net worth our debts, which was house 228, non-mortgage 76. A few other things, guys, to simplify this entire process. That is some really good information. Like this is like the core crux of like how we become millionaires by 30, but also simplifying some things, right? So one bank account. We have one bank account. We have a joint bank account. Everything goes out of that bank account. It's like a sweep account, right? All of our income comes into this bank account, and all of our automated investments get like ping-ponged out of there really fast. We have one credit card, simply one. We have one free, Chase Freedom Unlimited card. We have one card. We both have one, obviously, in our wallets. One account, one card. Keep it really simple. We have one credit card. We pay it off every month. That's all. If you have any problems with credit cards from spending, if you've ever had interest, I highly advise using a debit. The points are not worth it. Don't even go down that path. If you had credit card interest, you're losing in the credit game. One broker. We've used Vanguard our entire lives, guys. It's very, very simple. We have our one Chase bank account. We have one Chase credit card. We have one broker. Simple. There's nothing complex to this whole entire situation. Remove unused subscriptions. There's a lot of noise in financials. Unused subscriptions, just wasted expense every single month. Remove the easy stuff. Just get rid of subscriptions. Maybe use Truebill, or the responsible thing would be to know where your subscriptions are and go through your bank statements or credit card statements. Consolidate all old 401ks, All of our old 401ks from previous jobs have been lumped into either an IRA or like a rollover IRA or rollover as well. And this is really simple. Keep it consolidate everything. And then again, this is to rehash this, like how important this is. Automate everything. So obviously that's number 6 right here. But automate this entire process, guys. If you guys are manually doing this stuff, it's going to take you way longer than the average person that's just going to go ahead and automate everything, not make that decision. So on Monday morning when you're fatigued and you're tired and you're late for work and you forgot your coffee and your kid's pissing you off, like just realize like if you just automate that process, you're already invested into an IRA that morning or whatever, versus like, oh wait, now when I get to work, now I got to manually invest this stuff. Don't even play that game, guys. We're not robots. We can't compete with robots. So just use automation to win with finance. Guys, that is a nutshell of how we became millionaires by 30. I'm sure it's not too as complex as a lot of you guys thought it was, and that is a good thing because I know each and every one of you guys can become that. I'm going to answer some questions, so let me go ahead and get my phone flipped around. All right, so I'm going to flip this around. Let's see. All right. Okay, so I'm going to lower my seat a little bit so I can, all right, boom. So I'm going to go to the top. What's up, Madeline? Appreciate you for saying that. So let's see. I'm going to go to the very top, guys, and answer any questions and obviously drop them in the bottom as well. But there's a lot of people that joined, so hold on. I hopped in here so fast. Let's go. I love the hype, guys, for this one. This one's a good. I like this Whiteboard Wednesday because like we were gonna cover a lot of stuff, and we still are. I'm gonna answer a lot of questions and get into the details and stuff like that. Let's see. Still holding Meta, absolutely. I'm considering buying more right now, actually. In fact, how much were you making? That's the only thing I don't share, guys. I try to be very transparent and share everything, but I for privacy reasons I don't share that data. Just know it was very normal. It was very normal. You guys can probably go do the research if you would like. I was a starting auditor at Deloitte in 2015, and my wife was a very similar salary, actually a little less at that point in time. So it wasn't out of this world by any means, and that was not a contributing factor early on. That's usually the number one thing people jump to, and that's the most wrong way to go about it. Income's important, it's speed, but it's not going to give you direction. I could go drive a Lamborghini as fast as possible, but if I don't know how to control it and where it's going, I'm going to wreck it really fast. So income's definitely important. Like I said on the board even, like don't ignore income. It's important, but it wasn't like a crazy amount of income that was like out of this world and nobody else can attain this number. Well below that, to be honest. People get too hyped up in the income, unfortunately. It's sad because it holds people back. They don't believe they can do it. Oh, so-and-so made so much more money. Like it really pisses me off, to be honest. And that's not to yell at those questions by any means. But a lot of people jump to the income as it's like the only solution to solving your financial problems. And in fact, it's not. Don't compare to him. Just know what you can do to become a millionaire in 7 years like he did. Great comment there. I can't stress that enough. Guys, there's nothing to compare you versus me, or if you're 1.2 million to look down upon me, or if you're 800,000 to look up at me. Like, it doesn't matter. It's a numbers game. It's just wealth building. We don't even care that we literally became millionaires. In fact, to be honest, like we're still going to do the same things. It becomes it just gives you flexibility to do what you want in life. So don't ever compare to where I'm at. Don't compare to where you're at. It's natural in human nature to compare, obviously, but don't do that to, it's going to put you in a bad mood probably either way. So even if you're higher than a million or less than a million, it's going to put you in a bad mood. Just learn from the education I'm providing to get you there or beyond or whatever you need to do. But don't sit here and compare because you guys are it's never a healthy exercise to do that. It really isn't. All right, I'm scrolling through, guys. Lots of people that joined, so I'm trying to get through all these. It shows me every person that joined. I have to step away. Yes, I'm going to save this live, guys. Wow, that's amazing. Appreciate you guys. What were some of the side hustles we did? I kind of talked about a lot of those, guys. Like I did the primary revenue drivers from a side hustle perspective. Like I said, my wife was probably the bigger one. She was doing 20/20 drawings at $50 an hour under the table. So figure a 6-hour project, not that she had a lot of 6-hour projects, let's say a 4-hour project, was $200. We would take $200 and throw that to the mortgage or throw that to whatever our goals were at the time. That was a really, really significant time. She would bring in, I want to say 1 year, she brought in like $15,000 extra dollars from a side hustle. Me, on the other hand, I was hustling, probably doing a lot of harder work, but I was making way less. I was with the hard hat on, like I said. I've talked about this quite some time. I have a picture of it somewhere on my phone. Hold on, that is not it. Let's see where it's at. But I was really busting my butt, guys. I would take like PTO, and I would go to this site right here, and I would do demoing work. And I was making $12 an hour under the table as well. And so I would work maybe a whole week and probably get paid $500 or so. That was a really significant revenue driver as well. I mean, you got to think, if I'm making $500 a week, obviously I couldn't do that consistently because I was a CPA at the time working a full-time job, but I would work on the weekends as well. So a full week of PTO, I wouldn't take PTO. I wouldn't actually do PTO, like pay time off. I would go work at the site from 7 a.m. to like 6 p.m. And on the weekends, I would work there as well. So we made a good chunk of change from side hustle, and 100% of that money went straight to debt payoff and stuff like that. And that was a significant driver. Like I said, 0 to 800,000, guys, was W-2 jobs in those side hustles I just referenced. We made probably an extra collective $25,000 from side hustles, just busting every possible avenue that we could do in a given year. So figure that over, a long period of time, like that, it adds up. $25,000 is a lot of extra money, especially under the table, technically speaking. I hope the IRS doesn't hear this one, but we also earned it. Like, there's no other way to put it. Like, I was making $12 an hour, busting my butt to, as much as I possibly could. So like, we earned every penny of that, and I don't feel guilty saying that. We made $25,000 extra dollars, but like a lot of people wouldn't do that. Like, most people would not take PTO at Deloitte, which is a very high demanding job, and then go work 5 days a week at a construction site. Like, it's just the reality of people. And so like, people wonder how like I became a millionaire in 7 years. It's because like I did that stuff. Like, I did all the stuff I talked about. I did it for consistency purposes. I did this stuff for 7 years. I was selling everything I could think of. I was flipping things. Like, all these types of things were being done through the 7-year period. And now at this point in time, which I haven't heard anybody say it, but on Twitter, people are, that obviously don't follow me, are like, inheritance, you got lucky, all these types of things. Is like, I mean, you guys just haven't been, you've come into the journey at the wrong time. And it's sad because those people have limiting beliefs as well, and they put themselves in a position of failure because they don't believe they can do it. So they're going to say the person that did it got lucky or got inheritances and all this kind of stuff. And it's sad because, troll or not, I pray for them because they're not going to get anywhere with that mentality. I live for Whiteboard Wednesday. Tommy, I'm glad you're here, man, as always. Whiteboard Wednesday, guys. This is not just a one-time thing. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do a whiteboard. We break down some topic, and we really, really detail some things. I saw a thread you posted a while back of suggested allocations based on annual income, and despite the annual amount, our take-home pay was nowhere to reflect what you had listed. I'm not sure what you're referring to specifically on that question. Suggested allocations should not, I'm assuming portfolio allocation should not really matter with income. That's irrelevant. This page is impersonated. Yeah, I have a lot of fake pages, guys. So should budgets be based on gross or net pay? I think gross pay for most things are probably better. It puts it at an even playing field, and also gets you to invest a lot more. But you can use net pay. I mean, it just depends what your taxes are if you're accounting for that as well. But I think gross is probably a better way to, especially when you're talking about percentage of my income I was investing, like 15 or 20%, definitely gross. What percentage of income would I recommend investing? Depends on your goals. So obviously your goals everyone's goals are different. Our goal was to like like fast forward this wealth building journey. So because the coolest thing about millionaire status at 30 is not millionaire status at 30, it's the compounded effect that will happen in our 40s and 50s and 60s as a result of what we did early. So we can, not that we're going to coast by any means, but we have the ability to be coast fi, as they term it, like coast financial independent, because of what we did early on. So, while everyone else was at the bars, all my friends were at the bars hanging out and doing, going to Vegas every weekend, spending loads of money. We didn't do that kind of stuff. We took a step back and we looked at our long-term future, and we liked our life a lot better as a result. So, 15% is a really good place to start, but it's not the end all be all. I did DoorDash and I loved it. That's awesome, Madeline. Yeah, DoorDash, guys. I mean, Uber, there's Rover, there's so many different opportunities to make side income, like a significant amount of side income. I know multiple people. My affiliate guys, one of my affiliate partners within Budget Dog has made $5,000 in a given month at one point. So like affiliate marketing is a massive opportunity sitting right in front of your face that you could make thousands of dollars per month extra if you would like. It's an incredible type of thing. Do I think I'm FI, financially independent, and can stop working and live off my investments? No, absolutely not. Like I'd have to make income. I showed you guys the breakdown of like the stock market portion, about like 580 or whatever, plus some other investments as well. There's not a chance that would last us. So we have to continue to work and make money. Again, that's why millionaire status is just the beginning, guys. Like your end goal should not be millionaire status. It should not. It should be much greater than that, or you won't be able to retire. Because a lot of people obviously are going to, talk house and stuff like that. And sure, you could sell it and then get the equity out and rent and things of that nature and have Social Security pay for that. But still $1 million, even in the invested, probably is not going to be enough. What are your thoughts on married with separate bank accounts? It always raises a red flag, if I'm being honest. I'm not here to overstep boundaries. But if I do hear that couples don't discuss money or they have separate bank accounts, it definitely raises a red flag. Because you can allocate certain dollar amounts to spend. Like if my wife and I are like, hey, this month she's going to take $300 and go spend on whatever she wants to spend, and I have my $300 and I can go spend on whatever I want to spend. That's totally fine. But why separate bank accounts? Why? There's usually a bigger issue behind the scenes than just, hey, we have separate bank accounts. You can roll 401k into an IRA. Yeah, absolutely, man. Like I have a free service in my link in my bio, and I highly recommend people to do that. In fact, most of the time. Brilliant point on automating investments. Yes, guys, automation is seriously one of the lowest talked about type of financial things, and probably one of the most impactful financial things. It takes out the decision fatigue. It takes out the emotion, and it also guarantees that you continue to invest in the markets and all that kind of good stuff. You only invest in ETFs. Yeah, so Jonathan, I'm going to let you go ahead and watch the, I did a whole entire video on my feed, guys, I broke down my entire, all my millionaire net worth and stuff like that. So go watch that video. It's really fresh on my feed at the very, very top. What's your net worth goal? That's a great question. So I don't have one. I don't care at this point. We did want to hit millionaire status because that was like a cool net worth goal or whatever. But I don't have a net worth goal at all. I will say my current goal is obviously more flexibility, more and more flexibility, to the point that we can choose every single second of our day what we do. We are very flexible at this point in time. I run my own business. I can kind of go wherever, whenever. And so we have a lot of flexibility at this point. But I do want to get to a point of a little more flexibility in the future. We'll see how that plays out. But net worth is kind of irrelevant for that. I do calculate net worth as a percentage from a cash flow need perspective to become independent. So 2.5 million in my brokerage. I really want to hit 2.5 in my brokerage. That's my main goal right now. But it's not from a net worth perspective. It's because 4% off of that would provide me about $100,000 in income per year. So our sole focus right now is that brokerage account hitting 2.5 million in the brokerage account. But net worth's kind of not very attractive. It's not that it's not attractive, it just doesn't matter past a certain extent. It's a cool mile marker, but it's not the end goal by any means. It's more flexibility, family, those types of things that drive me at this point in time. I'm really impressed with the simplicity and cohesiveness. What bank do you use? Awesome. Yes, guys, everything we do is very simple. Like, that's why I know anybody on this call can become millionaires. All my Academy members, my Budget Dog Academy members that are on this call, if they are going to do exactly what I do, because I literally lay it out step by step in my Academy members. We had 4 more people that joined today into the Academy, guys. We have 110 people in the Academy in a short number of months. So super excited to continue to watch their journeys. Like the numbers in the Academy, guys, are actually just insane. The other day, or not this one, yeah. So Alicia was like, Anna was telling me about. She's like, I'm gonna tell everyone about this program because like it's just simple. It's simple. It has everything laid out, and it's just it works. Like, it's just effective. There's so much crap online about like what can you possibly get. I mean, check this out: $19,000 extra per month by walking through my Academy steps. Super simple stuff that just works. This stuff is effective, and all the tools and resources that I provide within my Academy will get you here 100%. Like, I'm very confident when I say that because I get screenshots like that every single day from my Academy members. Like I said, we have about 110 people in there right now. I'm not taking anybody right now though. We hit our mark. What bank do you use? Chase Bank and PNC, business and personal. Where would you put a lump sum of money that you don't need but you may need quickly, home maintenance, etc.? Probably a high yield savings account. Keep it simple. DJ, what is up? Guys, DJ actually joined the program today. That's awesome that she's in here. So thanks for taking the time earlier today. What are some ETFs that you do invest in, or is this something we'll cover in the course? Yes, DJ, we will cover everything in the Academy because what I invest in is kind of irrelevant in a sense to what other people invest in. So we talk about in the Academy for 2 months, months 2 and 3, detailed allocations, an investment plan. We'll put your investment plan together. All these types of cool things we will have in order by the end of month 3 within the Academy. So you'll get there. What I invest in is about VTSAX, VTIX, and VMAX for the most part. How do I buy stocks or 401k for a 60-year-old? That would be a good question. And if this is a question, guys, that you have, with all due respect, I would meet with a financial professional ASAP before trying to do it for yourself because there's too much risk with that kind of question. I don't want you guys to get in a bad spot, where you're at. Okay, so guessing through this is going to be really risky. You might as well just pay a professional, like a financial advisor somewhere, and just have them do it. Especially for a 60-year-old, I would not just DIY this stuff at this point in time. 20% is gross, guys. 20% is gross. 20% yes, gross. I also did Uber and made a bunch. Exactly. Like there's so many opportunities out there, guys. It's incredible. 300 okay, Mike. He's in my group as well, my Budget Dog Academy group. 370 at 36 years old. How long till I hit $1 million in your opinion? I don't think it's an opinion. It's more a math equation. So it depends how much you save out of that, man. So, right, we talked about this in the Academy a little bit, but the savings rate is going to be key. You could get to millionaire status within 5 years, very, very easily. I don't know where the net worth is currently at this day when we talk about it, outside of what you submitted to me like a month ago, 2 months ago, but you could get there within like really, really quick. I would say 5 years. At 370,000, you probably way fast, honestly. Like, just do the math. I mean, 370 times 5, right? And then take out taxes and then figure out what your savings rate is and stuff like that, plus compound interest, plus other assets. There's a lot of things to factor into that. But you could do that really, really fast. Take PTO to make more money. So I was obviously taking paid time off from my Deloitte job, and I was going to work at a construction job making $12 an hour. So like $100 a day typically is what I made. My dad used to work at KPMG, so I know the stress. Yeah, Deloitte was stressful to say the least. Yes, that's a good, oh my gosh, Sarah, this is great content. So could you do an interview with your wife one day to hear her perspective? Yes, that's fantastic. She's in the background. She's in the kitchen right now. And she's making some food for Logan tomorrow, but like, that's a really good idea. Maybe like we do a YouTube video, or, she does a host a lot IG live with me sometime. I think it would be really good to hear her perspective. Like we're very communicative. We talk about everything, so we're really on the same page with everything we do. But obviously from a budget dog perspective, it's always me talking, on camera at least. Obviously behind the scenes, it's us working together. But that would be a really good content piece that I'm definitely doing that 100%. Loading on Meta tomorrow. I'm gonna probably wait a little bit on Meta and kind of watch it play out and see if it dips a little sub 100. But I'm pretty excited about where that's at right now. I also am looking at that. Remember how I'm positioning that, guys. It's not like a short-term investment. It's a long-term investment that I probably won't actualize until 2040. So I'm pretty excited about where it's at. It was like a budget thread. Like if you make 50,000, then housing should be X. That was on my stories. That was on my story, Love Mel's. So I don't remember specifically the numbers I posted at that point in time, but we can talk about it in the DMs for sure. How would we become affiliate marketers? Guys, affiliate marketing is very common. So if anybody has an online digital product, typically they offer, like I offer, for example, an affiliate marketing link. So I would provide you a link, and you would get, for every sale, 50% of the revenues. Depending on what that was, obviously, but typically 50% of the revenues is pretty common in the industry. 20 to 50%, they range. I personally get 50% of revenues. However, I don't give it out to everybody because I don't want a bunch of people running around with affiliate links that make one sale. Like I want somebody that's knows affiliate marketing. You have to grow your following. You can't just go to your friends and family and make a couple extra bucks. Like it doesn't really work that way. You have to grow a presence online, connect with a big audience, and then you'll have a product that you'll feel comfortable selling as well. And I also require all my affiliate marketers to go through my products before you start showing those off, because you have to know what you're selling, and you have to have confidence on that. Real live, off that tracking. Budget dog, what's up, D Money? Sorry about typos, you're good. How much can you bench? 30 pounds. What should I do with the money I make from side hustle in terms of taxes? So technically speaking, you need to put that in Schedule C. I'm gonna let you decide how you want to do that. If you get paid cash and nobody sees, that's up to you. But when I say under the table, that means I didn't pay tax. But I think obviously anybody that's doing side hustles or like on the side jobs or working, cutting the grass for a neighbor, like a lot, that's pretty common. So, oh no, with you specifically, I know how to affiliate market. Oh, just ask me for a link, Nico. That's literally all. I just need you to go through the product itself. That's all. If you go through the product, I'll let you guys affiliate market for me. There's no other stipulation behind going through the product, believing in the product, and being professional about it, obviously. And you have to grow up, but it sounds like. All right, guys, that was a good Whiteboard Wednesday. We're coming up on the hour. I hope tonight made it very simple, and also for anybody not believing that they could become millionaires, it made them believe it was possible. Because don't compare to the time frame or the age I'm doing this at. Compare or think about it from your perspective, how you can apply the principles I taught tonight, apply it to your perspective or your situation, and become a millionaire and well beyond that. Multimillionaire, decamillionaire, and all that kind of stuff. Everyone here can become one, whether they believe it or not. So if you guys need help doing that, obviously that's what the Academy's for, but you have to DM me for that. That's not open. I don't provide that link anywhere outside of webinars and DMs that I feel like can help you guys. So, all right, guys, have a good night. Appreciate it. Always reach out in the DMs if you need anything, and we'll talk soon.